No one remembered when the warning was first spoken. It was etched into the archive walls of the Galactic Concord long before any living race learned to dream of flight. 6 words, carved in languages older than light itself. Do not awaken what sleeps on soul. For thousands of millennia, the warning stood untouched until the High Dominion of Kadar, proud and hungry for secrets, decided that myths were for the weak. Grand Preceptor Vorowan stood before the council's obsidian dais, his silver crest illuminated by the faint glow of the stars projected above him. The chamber hummed with quiet unease. 12 counselors, each representing a race older than most galaxies, stared at him, unblinking. The Sol system is unguarded, Vorowan declared, his voice reverberating through the chamber. Our deep probes show ruins, vast structures buried beneath the third planet's crust. Power signatures unlike anything we've catalogued. If there truly was a species there, it is long dead. The hall remains silent. Then, an elder's voice trembled from the shadows. You speak of humanity. The word fell like a stone into still water. Every being present felt the echo ripple through their minds. Yes, Vorowan said, undeterred. The ancient species of myth. The destroyers. The architects of fire. But look around you, no trace of them remains. The warnings are relics of a fearful age. It is time we claim their knowledge. Another elder, a translucent being of the Elcor, leaned forward, her many eyes dark. Preceptor, the last time one of our kind searched Sol, they vanished. Entire fleets, gone. Even their memory was stripped from our records. Vorowan smiled. Then I will make certain this time, our memory endures. He turned toward the starfield projection, toward a faint yellow sun surrounded by endless night, and issued the order that would shatter the galaxy's long silence. Send the expedition. The fleet arrived at Sol 2 cycles later. 3 dreadnoughts and 12 science vessels slipped through the black, their engines whispering through the void. The third planet, small, blue, fragile-looking, waited below like a forgotten jewel. Its surface was scarred by time, its cities buried beneath continents of dust and ruin. Commander Cyril Thane watched from the bridge of the dreadnought Eclipsera. His eyes, dark and calculating, reflected the pale shimmer of Earth's ruined oceans. So this is humanity's cradle, he murmured. Not much of a legend. Beside him, his second-in-command, Varen Olos, shifted uneasily. The readings are strange, Commander. The planet is quiet. Too quiet. Electromagnetic silence. No ambient radiation. No biological chatter. It's as if the world itself is holding its breath? Thane smirked. You've been reading the old myths. Varen didn't reply. She stared at the sensor display, watching the faint energy fluctuations ripple through the dead cities. Something pulsed beneath the crust, steady, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. They landed in what was once North America, near a fractured mountain range that had swallowed a city whole. Dust swirled like ghosts around the expedition as they descended into the ruins, towers collapsed, steel bones jutting from the earth. Vorowan himself led the excavation. Begin with the central chamber, he ordered. The archives should be beneath. Hours passed. Machines dug into the ancient earth, their drills chewing through centuries of silence. Then, one of the surveyors, a lithe Quran technician named Elon, called out. Preceptor! We've found something. Beneath the rubble, a massive chamber emerged, its walls lined with black metal that shimmered like obsidian glass. Strange markings spiraled across its surface, glowing faintly as the alien light touched them. It's active, Elon whispered. After all this time. Vorowan descended into the pit. The air was heavy, thick with something ancient, almost sentient. In the center of the chamber stood a sealed doorway, circular and smooth, with words etched in an archaic human script. Elon scanned it. Translation incomplete, but I can make out fragments. Vorowan turned toward her. Read them. She hesitated. It says, Sleep well, children of Earth. If the stars call again, run. Vorowan frowned. Run? From what? The answer came as a vibration through the floor. A deep, resonant pulse, low and distant, but growing. The walls began to hum, light crawling across the symbols like veins filling with fire. The machinery around them flickered, sensors spiking to impossible levels. Energy surge. Varen shouted from above. It's off the charts, Preceptor, you need to retreat. Hold your position. Vorowin barked. This is the find of an era. The doorway cracked. A faint hiss filled the air, followed by a light so white it cut through the dust like a blade. The ground shook violently. Ancient power, raw, primal, tore through the earth, spreading in waves that shattered the surrounding ruins. Shut it down, someone screamed. It's breaching containment. Too late. The pulse exploded outward, a shockwave that rippled through the entire solar system. From Mercury to Neptune, ancient satellites long dormant flickered to life, each broadcasting the same signal into the void. We are awake. Far beyond Sol, in the heart of the Galactic Concord, the Elders felt it. The signal tore through subspace, reaching every world, every fleet, every race that had once dared whisper humanity's name. And in that moment, silence fell across the stars. In the Temple of Memory, the oldest being alive, a creature known only as the Keeper, opened its ancient eyes for the first time in 10,000 years. They have done it, it whispered, voice trembling. They have awakened them. A trembling acolyte approached. What should we do, Great One? The Keeper looked toward the distant stars, where Sol burned faintly like a relit ember. Pray, it said softly. Pray that they forgive. On Earth, as the dust settled, Vorowin stood trembling before the now open chamber. Inside, rows of black pods stretched into the darkness, thousands of them each pulsing faintly with blue light. And through the static of his calms, he heard the faintest sound. A voice, low, human, and ancient, speaking in a language that transcended translation. Who dares wake us? The temperature dropped. Every being in the chamber froze as the first pod cracked open. And within the pale mist, a figure stepped out, tall, human, eyes glowing faintly like stars reflected in deep water. Vorowin fell to his knees, trembling. The figure's gaze swept over the aliens, and when he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of forgotten empires. You were warned. The lights of the chamber flared, then went dark. The air in the chamber turned heavy, not with gas or radiation, but something deeper, older. A pressure that felt like the very weight of history pressing down on their bones. Vorowin staggered backward, his translator implant flickering as it struggled to process the impossible sound vibrating through the air, a heartbeat. Not metaphorical, not symbolic, an actual, planetary rhythm, slow and powerful, pulsing through the ruins like blood through veins. The figure before him exhaled. The mist swirled around its form, a human male, tall, broad-shouldered, his skin pale from millennia of stasis. His eyes glowed with the faintest blue luminescence, like starlight caught in water. He wore a bodysuit of black weave that shimmered faintly, marked with sigils unknown even to the Dominion's greatest linguists. He looked at Vorowin, really looked, and the Preceptor felt as though a supernova had turned its gaze upon him. Identify yourself, Vorowin demanded, voice shaking despite his effort to appear composed. The human tilted his head slightly. When he spoke, his voice carried not through sound but through the bones of every being present. I am Captain Aaron Locke. Terran Defense Command, 3rd Expeditionary Fleet, status, unknown. Varen's hand flew to her communicator. He speaks, their ancient language, flawless, she whispered. Locke's eyes drifted across the chamber, the pods, the aliens, the banners of the Dominion stitched on their uniforms. His gaze hardened. You shouldn't be here. Vorowin forced a smile, trying to reclaim control. Captain Locke, is it? We are explorers of the Dominion of Kadar. Your species, humanity, has long vanished. We seek only knowledge. Locke's expression didn't change. Knowledge, he repeated softly. That's what they always say before they burn something down. The lights in the chamber flickered again. A pulse, stronger this time, rippled through the floor, and another pod hissed open. Inside lay another human, a woman, dark-haired, her eyes flickering awake as if from a long sleep. Locke turned toward her immediately, kneeling by her side. Commander Reyes, he whispered. We made it. She groaned, blinking against the harsh light. Status? Locke hesitated. Unknown. I think we've been asleep a long time. Rhea sat up, scanning the alien faces watching her with fear and awe. Then we've been found, she said flatly. And that means it's already too late. Outside, orbiting high above Earth, the Dominion dreadnoughts began reporting system failures. Power fluctuations swept across the fleet. Engines sputtered. Sensors went blind. Commander, we're losing control, shouted an ensign aboard the Eclipsera. All systems are being overridden by something planetary. Planetary? Thane barked. What do you mean? Before he could finish, every monitor aboard the dreadnought lit up with a single symbol, a simple circle divided by 3 intersecting lines. Ancient. Human. The ship's AI stuttered, then spoke in a voice that did not belong to any known machine. Terran defense grid, reactivation sequence complete. The bridge fell silent. What, defense grid? Thane whispered. From the void below, hundreds of dormant satellites came to life, each one a relic of humanity's final age. They unfolded like iron flowers, their surfaces glimmering with energy older than the Dominion itself. And for the first time in 10,000 years, the planet called Earth armed itself. Back on the surface, Vorrowan was losing his composure. The humans were awakening one by one, dozens now, their bodies shaking off the dust of centuries, their eyes burning with quiet recognition. The chamber echoed with the low hum of power, and strange holograms flickered into existence, tactical overlays, planetary grids, maps of long-lost colonies. Vorrowan stepped forward, desperate to assert authority. You will stand down. We are the lawful explorers of this system. Locke turned toward him slowly, his face expressionless. Lawful? You desecrated the graves of my people. This world was abandoned. Vorrowan snapped. If your species truly existed, it perished eons ago. Locke took a step closer, his presence radiating like heat from a forge. We don't die easy, alien. Something in his tone made even the armed Dominion guards retreat. Commander Reyes approached, scanning the alien instruments with cold precision. Captain, she said quietly, these invaders triggered our reawakening protocol. The system's running the old failsafes. Once it reaches full synchronization, the planetary AI will. Her voice cut off as the ground trembled violently. Above them, the clouds split apart as something vast emerged from the atmosphere, a colossal construct rising from beneath the Pacific Ocean. It wasn't a ship. It was larger. Older. Alive in a way metal shouldn't be. It stretched for miles, a ring of interlocking segments orbiting Earth, glowing faintly as its systems powered online. Reyes stared up at it, whispering, the Aegis ring, it survived. Locke looked skyward, and for the first time, something like grief crossed his face. We swore it would never awaken again. In the distant reaches of space, the Galactic Concorde was in chaos. Fleets scrambled, transmissions screamed across the void, and every intelligence service in the galaxy turned its gaze toward the reawakened Sol system. In the Grand Hall of the Concorde, the elders gathered, those who had lived long enough to remember the First War. An Ulcor seer spoke through trembling lips. It is them. The children of Terra. The ones who burned the Dominion of Stars to ash before time began. A reptilian warlord hissed. We must destroy them before they rise. But the eldest among them, the Keeper, spoke with sorrow, not fear. No. You cannot destroy what has already endured the death of empires. The humans are not conquerors by choice. They are storms by nature. And the fools who woke them will be the first to drown. Back on Earth, the Dominion troops tried to flee. Shuttles screamed toward orbit, but one by one they disintegrated mid-flight, caught in invisible bursts of energy from the reactivated grid. The few who survived fell to the ground, cowering beneath skies that now glowed with auroras of power. Locke and Reyes stood amid the chaos, watching as their people fully awakened. Hundreds now walked among the ruins, gathering around their two leaders. Some looked confused, others furious, but all carried that same unmistakable light in their eyes. Captain, Reyes said, scanning the data on her wrist display. The planetary AI is online and identifying us as last command survivors. It's requesting orders. Locke took a deep breath. Then let's give it one. He looked out over the alien wreckage, the ruins of the Dominion's Arrogance, and spoke clearly into the comlink on his wrist. Command override, Terra Prime Protocol. Prepare defensive awakening. Identify all non-human signatures as potential hostiles. The AI's voice answered, cold and obedient. Acknowledged, Captain Aaron Locke. Humanity reawakening in progress. Voruan screamed as his communicator erupted in static. You don't understand. We came to learn. Locke turned toward him, eyes cold as the void. You came to conquer what you didn't understand. And now, you've reminded the galaxy why they swore never to touch this world. The temperature rose again as the pod's glow intensified. Across the planet, other chambers began to open. The oceans boiled with light. The atmosphere thrummed with power. And from orbit, the Aegis ring emitted a low, harmonic tone, the sound of an ancient engine stirring after 10,000 years of silence. Reyes looked at Locke. What do we do now? He watched the sky ignite with the glow of awakening. Now, he said quietly, we remember who we are. Far away, on the outer edges of the galaxy, a Dominion scout ship caught the signal before it died, a transmission in an extinct tongue, carried on the pulse of the stars. This world is awake. Tell them. Humanity has returned. The transmission cut. And for the first time in recorded galactic history, every star seemed to flicker in fear. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. From orbit, the Dominion's remaining dreadnoughts watched helplessly as Earth transformed beneath them. What had once been a dead, quiet world now pulsed with living fire. Energy arcs spread across continents, weaving through oceans and atmosphere like veins awakening in a slumbering giant. And at the heart of it, the Aegis ring glowed brighter than any star. Commander Cyril Thane clutched the railing of the Eclipsera's bridge as the main viewport filled with blinding light. Get us out of orbit, he shouted. Now! Engines unresponsive, cried his pilot. Something's interfering. Before he could finish, the dreadnought lurched violently. Metal screamed as invisible forces gripped the ship like a toy. Systems flickered. Gravity inverted. And then, from every speaker, a voice spoke, calm, human, ancient. You entered restricted Terran space. State your purpose. Thane froze. This isn't possible. The voice repeated, unyielding. State your purpose. Thane stammered, we seek knowledge. We didn't mean. Violation confirmed, the voice interrupted. Defense protocols active. The dreadnought's hull began to disintegrate, atom by atom, in complete silence. The crew screamed as white light consumed them, and then there was nothing. The Eclipsera vanished, leaving only drifting particles and the echo of a warning the galaxy would never forget. Earth Reclamation Site 07. Captain Aaron Locke stood atop the ruins of what was once Denver, the sunrise spilling gold across the wasteland. Around him, humanity stirred, thousands of men and women, all recently awakened, all carrying fragments of old memory and new purpose. The city was nothing but fractured steel and dust, yet the humans moved with silent coordination, rebuilding, rearming, remembering. Commander Reyes joined him, wiping dust from her hands. Scans confirmed the Aegis ring is at 62% operational. Atmospheric stabilizers online. Orbital defenses, still calibrating. Locke nodded absently. And communications? Restored, she said, then hesitated. We've received transmissions. A lot of them. From the galaxy. He glanced at her. And? She met his gaze. Some are warnings. Others are demands for surrender. Locke's lips twitched into something between amusement and regret. They still think in terms of empires. Reyes crossed her arms. We can't take on the galaxy, Aaron. Not yet. We're barely awake. Locke looked up at the morning sky, where the faint silhouette of the Aegis ring glimmered like a second horizon. We don't need to take on the galaxy, he said quietly. We just need them to remember why they promised never to come here. Galactic Concord, High Council Chamber. Panic had replaced ceremony. Fleets mobilized. Armadas whispered of preemptive strikes. The ancient races that once called themselves gods now debated survival. The elders had reconvened, those who had seen the first dawn of galactic civilization and remembered what came before it. The Keeper stood before them, its translucent form flickering beneath the weight of the transmission it had just replayed, the human voice that had destroyed the Dominion dreadnought. Now you understand, the Keeper rasped. Humanity does not fight as others do. Their weapons are extensions of their will, their technology tied to their soul. When they awaken, the universe trembles. An Ulcor noble hissed. Then we must destroy them before they spread. The Keeper's eyes glowed faintly. And how will you destroy that which already sleeps beneath your feet? You think Sol is their only world? Humanity scattered itself long ago, seeds in every nebula, sleepers in every dark. The council chamber fell silent. The Keeper turned toward the star map and raised a trembling hand. Pray they do not remember why they went to sleep. Earth, control nexus of the Aegis Ring. Deep within the Aegis Ring, a small group of awakened humans monitored thousands of reactivation signals. Screens bloomed with distant beacons, faint lights flickering to life across the galaxy. One of the technicians turned to Locke, face pale. Sir, we're detecting signatures from beyond Sol. Human signatures. Cryo signals. Dormant fleets responding to our broadcast. Locke's breath caught. How many? The technician hesitated. All of them, sir. The room went still. Holographic stars spread across the air, each point marking a Terran ark, a buried colony, a forgotten outpost. Entire armadas lost to myth, now answering the same call. Commander Reyes whispered, "My God. They're coming home." Locke closed his eyes, feeling the weight of centuries. Not home, he said softly. They're remembering. Outer Rim, the silent edge. Weeks passed. The galaxy tried to prepare. The Dominion rebuilt what remained of its fleet. The Concord sent emissaries, peacekeepers, spies, none returned. Every probe sent toward Sol vanished. Every AI that tried to decode the Terran signal broke, babbling one phrase again and again. Do not awaken them. And then, the skies changed. Across 1,000 worlds, the stars shimmered as ancient Terran fleets emerged from slipspace, black ships of impossible design, silent and cold, each bearing the same insignia, 3 intersecting lines within a circle. No warnings. No messages. They simply took position above dead worlds, ancient colonies, forgotten battlefields. Guardians of memories no alien could comprehend. In the Concord's outer colonies, citizens gathered outside to watch the skies glow blue with re-entry fire. Some prayed. Some wept. Others simply whispered the word carried through every subspace channel. Humans. Earth, Command Citadel. Reyes stood beside Locke in the command chamber, gazing at the holographic projection of the galaxy, thousands of blue lights pulsing in synchrony. She spoke quietly, the Concord's sending a delegation. They say they want peace. Locke's voice was calm. Do they mean it? No, she said. They're afraid. He nodded. Then that's enough. Moments later, a transmission came through a holographic projection of a trembling Ulcor diplomat, flanked by armed guards. Captain Locke, the alien stammered. On behalf of the Concord, we come to parley. We wish to avoid conflict. Locke studied him. Conflict requires 2 sides, Ambassador. We have no quarrel with those who respect our silence. And if we do not, the diplomat asked, voice trembling. Locke's expression hardened. Then you will learn why your ancestors built walls around our memory. The diplomat swallowed hard. What do you want? Locke looked past him, through the holographic stars. We want what was ours, freedom, solitude, and truth. You've built empires over our ashes, traded our names like legends. That ends now. The diplomat hesitated. You would challenge the galaxy? Locke smiled faintly. No. The galaxy challenged us when it forgot who we were. The transmission ended. Reyes turned to him. And if they attack anyway? Locke walked toward the viewport, where the blue glow of the Aegis ring illuminated the horizon. His reflection stared back, weary, resolute, human. Then we remind them, he said quietly, why even gods fear to wake the dead.